Linear throttle. Full trigger. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back. Got the Veles 29 on the block. Alright. Today we're going to be reinforcing the hull on this boat. We're going to be using epoxy and fiberglass chop strand mat to reinforce the tips of the sponson. The front of the tunnel area here, we're going to pull the electronics tray, pull the flotation. All right. I'm also going to reinforce the rear sponson rod pads from the inside, just to give them a little strength. This boat's fast, you guys. It's freaking blazing fast. 70, 80 mile an hour boat. And you wreck at that speed, it could possibly tear your boat to pieces. So we're going to basically be ironcladding the boat out. I want to keep the boat light. I don't want to get it too heavy, make it too heavy. A light boat's a fast boat. If we weigh it down, it's going to be a slow boat. So stick around. Big B with Ironclad RC. Freaking boat's fast as hell, you guys. It's fast as hell. You gotta figure when you're at that speeds and you flip, okay, and 9 times out of 10 the boat lands on the front. It lands like up here, the front of the boat, okay. So we're gonna take this 105-209 wet system with some chop strand mat and the stick, pack it up into the tips of the sponson and right here at the front of the tunnel, okay. Reinforce that seam. My last outing I had a little delamination, I guess, the front of the boat here, where the top side and the bottom side connect. I got a little delamination right here in the corner, okay, and like right there, all right. And I don't want it to get any worse, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop the delamination before it really starts. I've done a lot of work to this boat. I love this freaking boat. I've blueprinted the sponsons. Alright, and I actually sanded quite a bit off of these two and this one. I'll show you a picture like right now. Alright, you guys seen where I sanded a lot off of these two right here, and then these three, I actually had to put some filler. You could see the filler. But it's got a little bit of flex because I sanded it so much, so I want to reinforce it with that chop strand and epoxy. And you got to figure this boat, you know, 80 mile an hour. There's going to be a little flex in the ride surface, and I really want to ironclad the boat out, basically. So let's pull the electronics tray. Okay, it's 10 screws, 1, 2, 5 on each side. Pull the steering linkage, pull the cooling, ESC and motor here. Whole electronics tray comes out, and then we got to pull the foam out so we can get to the front. All right, so let's get to it. Got all the screws loosened up, the stuffing tube retainers off, cables out, steering linkages off, all the water cooling's disconnected. It should pull right out. Receiver. Alright, so pull the whole thing out of here. Boom. It's pretty nice. You guys see the light showing through up there at the front of the tunnel and the sponson tip. Okay, so that's where we're going to be reinforcing the boat. All of that. All right. We're going to wet out this fiberglass chop strand mat. All right, we're going to fill this up with epoxy 105-209 slow cure. I got my 209, 105 mixed up here, mixed quite a bit. We're going to be pouring it up into the sponsons and soaking mat in it and stuff. So we might use it all. I don't know. We're going to start inside the sponsons first, reinforcing the rod pads. I just got some chop strand mat here, just common chop strand that I kind of cut to size. All right, I'm actually going to pull the edges so it lays down nice and flat around it. I think just one application of this should be good. I mean, I did do quite a bit of sanding to my rod pads. I'll show you a little picture right now what it looked like in the process. But I think I'm just going to do like maybe two coats in there. All right, I got me a little paintbrush that I bent to shape. I got it all cleaned out, I'm gonna try not to make a huge mess here. I was gonna lay down paper, but it would probably be more aggravating than what it's worth, really. So I'm just gonna wet out my area with epoxy. Okay, I'm gonna wet my whole area out, make sure it's like wet with epoxy, and then we'll lay down our chop strand mat. You get all your strength from the matting. You know, if we were just to pour epoxy into the sponsons, it wouldn't really do no structural reinforcement. It would just be epoxy in the boat, you know, adding weight. That's where the strength comes from, is this right here, you know. So I'm gonna get it in there, get some epoxy on my brush. If you use a dry brush, putting this in, it sticks to the brush. So use a wet brush. I got that little drain plug I need to contend with in there. It's really hard for you guys to see, I know. But I'm just gonna fast forward through it and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. All right. Got a real thin, small, like I tore it and ripped most of the hairs off of this one. Okay, just gonna lay that one in there too. Very thin. It's almost like a half a sheet. That way if I want to blueprint the boat a little bit more later on, play around with it, I'll have some wiggle room. Boom! Turned out pretty good. Alright, let's do the front one. Alright, so they're all done. Inside the sponsons is done. Okay, the ride pad area. Alright, that's that side. And that's the other side. Alright, sorry, it's really hard to video this whole video. I started to not even make this video. It's really hard to show you guys, but I'm gonna do my best to show you the front. That's really the most important one. So let's get started on that. I got a couple tricks to help you guys out. Alright, I got everything prepped up. Okay, I got my chop strand ready. Okay, it's all tore apart. I cut the chop strand up really fine. Okay, it's like super fine. Very, very fine. Got my epoxy ready. It's actually starting to thicken up. That's exactly what I want, so I can control it a little better. You can see where I got it built up right here. I got quite a bit right there. You know, like pushing it down, working it in. You see that? I can feel it. Alright, so I'm going to try to get some over here in the tips on both of them. Okay, you can see where I've got it built up right there. Alright. I used about half of what I had mixed up here. Alright, and I'm going to use the rest of it in the sponson tips. And then I might put some of this chopped strand in there as well. I don't know if you guys can see it, but can you guys see that? I've got it. See how it's like in that tip? You can hear it. I can feel it with my stick. Alright, so. Seam is right in the crevice, you know. The seam is right here on the very thin part. All right, so I got that chopped up real fine strand in the tips, you know, and I actually put some of this long strand in with it, okay, and I'm gonna try to build it up. Still the same epoxy I mixed up earlier. I've only mixed up 1 pot of epoxy. I'm trying to use the cloth, not a bunch of like resin, you know. Use the cloth, keep adding to it, make you up some glue, some real stringy glue like that, you know. See how stringy that is? Man, that's gonna stick in there good. You know what I mean? Look at that. Alright, so I'm gonna put half of this on one side and half on the other side for reinforcement, and that should do it. Alright, so I was basically done with my epoxy. There was no epoxy left in my little cup. So what I did was I put some fiberglass hairs in here, using what was left in my epoxy bowl to wet out some hairs. Epoxy and fiberglass would stick to my stick, and when I would pull it up, it would actually pull some of the fiberglass up. So what I'm doing, and this is probably the best tip I can give you guys for this process. Okay, I'm taking a little bit of rubbing alcohol, put it on my stick. Alright, a little bit of rubbing alcohol on my stick, and now I can actually pick and prod and poke and push, pack all that epoxy fiberglass in without it sticking to my stick. Make it nice, you know, clean it up, you know, actually get a nice tight bond, you know, where that seam is. So that's probably the best tip I can give you guys, because it was actually kind of a pain in the ass trying to get it packed in, and it was wanting to pull up just as much as I was packing it. Alright, that's the last sponson you guys seen me do. Nice and clean, everything laid down perfect. Alright, that's that one. The back one. Alright, and let's see if you guys just bear with me here. I'm gonna try to show you the best I can. Alright, got it up against the light. It's up pretty good. I used that real fine chop strand first, and then I used the longer hairs, you know, over the fine chop strand. Got it shoved into the tips. I got it like spread out around and on the seams. Okay, this camera has actually been a valuable tool while I was doing this project. I would actually use the camera itself to see, you know, some of these hard to see places up into the front of the boat here. See how much I've built up in there? Okay, quite a bit. So now I'm going to hold it up to the light and let you guys see how much light is showing through now. You know, previous, remember how much light was showing? Maybe I'll show a clip of it before. It's now. Alright, you guys see the light showing through up there at the front of the tunnel and the sponson tip, and after. Alright, much better. Alright, that should do it. That crack that happened on my last run out, split the seam on my last crash at the speed run spot. I actually got epoxy coming through, so it was a hole. There was a hole in it. Alright, so epoxy was actually running out of this thing. Okay, so I think we accomplished what we set out to accomplish. You could do this to the Miss Geico 36, the Impulse, the UL19, the Zonda, you know, any fiberglass boat you could do this to. Just pull electronics, take the foam out, and ironclad it out. Okay, if you want to do this to like an ABS or polycarbonate hull like the Sonic Wake 36, you got a seam to come off, or your Blackjack 24 or any polycarbonate boat, you need to use Wet Systems G-Flex series of epoxy, not the one of 15209. You got to use the G-Flex because G-Flex is flexible. It flexes. The 15209, it dries hard. It dries really hard. G-Flex sticks to polycarbonate ABS better than the 15209. So, yeah, I'm going to let you guys go. Big B with Ironclad RC. I hope you guys learned something. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel.